Washington in mourning today following the news of longtime South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham's sudden passing this weekend. His death shaking the Senate and the Republican Party as a whole. Senator Graham's passing leaving a massive hole in the Senate that will be felt for a long time. I want to bring in one of Senator Graham's colleagues, Tennessee Senator Bill Hagerty. You served on Senate Appropriations with Senator Graham. Sir, our condolences to you for the loss of a friend. Tell us about your relationship with Senator Graham.
Well, thank you, Cheryl. And I think there's a pall over all of D.C. and, frankly, over much of the world. Lindsey was very well traveled as a legislator and very well liked. We'll all dearly miss him. He played a critical role in the Senate. And, I think about it, he always brought levity to everything that he did. One meeting we had last year, Cheryl, I remember him walking into an important meeting with members of the House of Representatives, and Lindsey announced that, well, here I am from the United States Senate, and I'm here to help you. And it just broke the room. It broke the ice. And he had a way of piercing even the most tense situation with a little bit of levity. He also was very clear in his goals. You might not always agree with his goals, but Lindsey always had a plan to get them accomplished. And I think he's resting better, God bless him, knowing that he accomplished so much, particularly with the situation in Ukraine right now. His efforts, his breakthrough efforts that just occurred with Russian sanctions, I think will make a big difference in terms of bringing peace to that area that he's worked so hard at.
Well, and so, I mean, obviously, that's the next question here is these efforts to advance what he was in Ukraine discussing with President Zelensky, imposing, more sanctions on Russia. And he announced right before his death that he had the support of the White House. So is that one of the first things that we're going to see the Senate take up?
I think in Lindsey's memory, we certainly will. The other thing, Lindsey was chair of the Budget Committee, and we've made great progress on a Reconciliation 3.0 package. We need that to get critical aspects of legislation done. We're at a point in a political environment right now where it's difficult to get any cooperation from the Democrats, and getting the Save America Act passed, which is so important to us. Many elements of that can be done through Reconciliation 3.0. There are a number of other impacts to the economy, to the housing market. You think about indexing capital gains on housing. You think about the budget for the Defense Department. A number of other matters that we do need to address. Lindsey was riding front and center on that in the Budget Committee. It's going to take, a lot of dedication. I think we should dedicate our efforts in memory of him, to get that done as well.
He also was sitting on judiciary, and that testimony from acting Attorney General Todd Blanche is this week as he attempts to be confirmed. Have you all had a phone call yet, you and your fellow Republicans, to decide how you're going to handle? Because Senator Graham was on not just chairing budget, but he was on several key committees and subcommittees. I mean, he's just leaving a huge vacuum there for you.
Cheryl, if you think about the role that Lindsey played in getting Justice Kavanaugh confirmed, having him on the Judiciary Committee was certainly an advantage for Republicans. Todd Blanche will be a great Attorney General. He's already doing a very good job, but I think having Lindsey there would have been a plus. We'll certainly figure out how to address the gap that Lindsey's departure leaves. But again, I say we will miss his voice on so many areas. Judiciary, of course, as you point out, being one of those critical points.
Yeah, well, and Republicans obviously on the Hill are facing an uphill climb. There's a lot of important legislation to pass, and you don't have a lot of time. And one of the biggest items on the agenda is trying to get the Save America Act passed. Senator Graham was a big supporter of that bill. Utah Senator Mike Lee, your colleague, joined Maria yesterday on Sunday Morning Futures. Here's what he told her.
One of the pieces of legislation that the senator talked about and supported was the Save America Act, something that you co-sponsored, that you have been pushing for a long time. What are your expectations for the Save America Act?
Look, this is something that Senator Lindsey Graham spent a lot of time with. Like me, he had a lot of enthusiasm for this bill, which I introduced in the Senate about 2.5 years ago. I believe, Maria, that there are multiple paths ahead by which we could pass this. Maybe that involves attaching it to another must-pass vehicle. Maybe it involves bringing it up on the floor and debating it until it passes. So I will take any opportunity to debate this, any opportunity to cause it to become law, because the American people deserve it. The American people want it. Voters overwhelmingly support it to the tune of about 80%. That's Democrats and Republicans alike. One of the best ways we could honor Lindsey Graham's legacy would be to take this up and pass it this month.
So, Senator, I want to get your thoughts here. Do you think the Senate is going to be able to pass the Save America Act in any way, shape, or form before the August recess?
Well, I agree with Senator Lee. I think we should try every aspect available to us. I'm one of the co-sponsors of this bill as well, and very, very keen to see it passed. What Lindsey Graham was working on in the Reconciliation 3.0 package does not require Democrat votes. I think that was one of the paths that offered the most promise, and I think we need to continue our efforts full bore to make sure we get it done, and this is the time to do it. I agree that this is the legislative period before August to work hard to get it done. You also mentioned we've got a lot on the agenda. We need to get the National Defense Authorization Act passed. Lindsey was a strong voice there as well. We've made great progress there. I think we're very close to being ready to do that. The Clarity Act, you know, I put great effort forward last year to get the Genius Act passed on. And what the Genius Act did for stablecoins in bringing America to the absolute lead on an international basis can be done as well with the Clarity Act for the remainder of the digital assets industry. We need to get that passed also. So there are a lot of pressures on us right now and a lot of work ahead.
Well, and you know, the leadership now has to install a new chair for the Budget Committee. I've heard Senator Ron Johnson's name floated there. But obviously, you've got another party line package. That's a $350 billion infusion for the military, you know, yes, along with Clarity. And I want to get your thoughts on Clarity. But, you know, again, I mean, where do you think the priority is going to lie? And what are you going to try to get through first?
So I think we're going to have to be able to both walk and chew gum at the same time. We're going to be working on multiple components of this, and it'll be up to Leader Thune to decide which is ready and which is most passable on any given day. But we're going to have to be proceeding side by side with these incredibly important pieces of legislation. You mentioned Clarity. That's in the Senate Banking Committee. A lot of good work has gone into that. I think we're very close there. The Save America Act, again, being budgetized, as you will, in the Senate Budget Committee. A lot of work has happened there. The House is working very hard right now to send something our way. And again, the National Defense Authorization Bill has got a lot of elements in it that will be critical to our national security. So we're going to be processing all of these side by side, and I think Leader Thune will be looking at which ones have the most, are most prime and ready to go. But we're going to be voting and pushing this forward at a very rapid pace. You mentioned Lindsey being the disruption, if you will, of filling his spot. Nobody will be able to fill his place. There's no question about that. But there are procedures in place to roll in a new chair of the Budget Committee. There are procedures in place for the governor of South Carolina to replace Lindsey, and all of that will be taking up a good part of this week, I'm certain.
Yeah, all right. And certainly, I'm glad that you brought up Clarity. Just really quick before you go, you do believe the Clarity Act can pass?
It certainly has the momentum and I think the interest to get it done. I'll just say this. It's been transformative to see what the Genius Act has done to the stablecoin arena. We have the opportunity to maintain that lead for America on a global basis if we can get Clarity done, and the right time to do it is right now. The elements are there in front of us. I'd hate to see us kick the can down the road any further, but as you say, we have a lot ahead of us, a lot on the agenda, but I certainly hope we can get this done soon.
Well, and again, you know, we've been working on this for a year, and you know, the market is waiting for Clarity. There's a lot riding on the line for financial markets when it comes to Clarity, and the banks, as you know. Well, Senator Bill Hagerty, we certainly appreciate your time this morning. Again, our condolences to you and your colleagues. And we're
much appreciated.
Yeah, we'll of course look forward to speaking with you very soon, Senator Bill Hagerty.
Thank you.
We've got a lot more coming up this morning. The United States launching another round of strikes against Iran. Heritage Foundation Center for National Security fellow and former Pentagon official Brett Sadler is going to be joining me next to weigh in. Plus, more on the fight to keep the Strait of Hormuz open. You're watching Mornings with Maria, live on Fox Business.